guys have to go around the long way. Okay. We're live.
Lean back, lean back, lean back. If you from Los Angeles, or if you from Las Vegas, Nevada, and you love the Raiders, make some noise. Every day I stay the same, looking like I'm going to a Raider game. No, I'm not the only one. We've been doing it like this since we was hella young. I'm just trying to state the facts. I'm never wearing no color. I ain't saying that. I'm just saying I bleed silver. If you cut me out and need no painkiller, it's all silver and black. We can play on lose. We won 3 Super Bowls. We done put up dudes. Nigga kept you trying to sneak in the back door. You mess around and get trapped in the black hole. It's Raider Nation. Yeah, we moved to Vegas, y'all.
Good afternoon, I'm Lorenzo Jensen, and welcome to NDSS. You can see behind me some of the crowds starting to file in, and it's actually going to be a double-header event here tonight with the Night Owls baseball team playing here at home as well. But we're focused on football today, and that's going to be the VI Raiders taking on, in the Battle of the Rock, they're taking on the Westshore Rebels. And if you were able to check out bcfootballconference.com earlier today, there was a nice piece there by Gideon Hill about a 9-minute interview with head coaches Jay Daniels and Dexter Janke, and talking about what to expect here this afternoon and what this new season means. A lot of promise shown on the field here early in the session this afternoon, and both teams warming up and looking quite organized, and the drills running smoothly. The Westshore Rebels looking to build on last year's second in the conference, and as Dexter Janke mentioned, now they have a taste and they know what they want. Jay Daniels, for his part, for the VI Raiders, talking about the importance of forgetting about... Good afternoon, I'm Lorenzo Jensen. Now they have a taste and they know what they want. Jay Daniels, for his part, for the VI Raiders, talking about the importance of forgetting about last season and focusing on what's in front of them. And he was talking about the players and their ability to capture their own destiny this season. And you know, they say the most dangerous man is one that has nothing to lose. And Jay Daniels says that his team has nothing to lose and everything to gain. So we're going to get ready to take it off for the opening kickoff here on BC Conference Football Day here. Saturday, perfect day for football. Looking forward to it. Good afternoon, I'm Lorenzo Jensen, and we're getting ready to kick this one off here. Vancouver Island Raiders with a 1-9 record last season, looking to improve this year, and interim head coach Jay Daniels talking earlier today with Gideon Hill, actually, in that piece, I'll give you the link to that in a moment, was talking about how the team has nothing to lose and everything to gain, and I think that's a really great mindset for the Raiders this afternoon. There's the Westshore Rebels strutting out onto the field, getting ready for this kickoff here. We're at Nanaimo District Senior Secondary Field, and it's a beautiful day for playing football. A little bit of a northwestern wind, but that's not going to slow us down easy. But unfortunately, the punters might have a little different scenario here today. Pardon me, the VI Raiders ready to receive this kickoff. They did the coin toss not too long ago, deciding that the Raiders will receive the ball, getting some last-second instructions from the sidelines as we're about ready to get this season underway, and a different tale here in this Battle of the Rock. One team coming off of a second in the conference finish, and the other with a 1-9 record, just looking to find ways to improve. And 37, that's the magic number for the Raiders here this season. And that kickoff just making it outside there, and a flag thrown on the play on the opening kickoff here as the ball goes out of bounds. And the Raiders will bring out their offensive unit to get to work and start this opening drive. 37, the number I was talking about. Individuals that haven't played with the team or that are in that 18-19 age category, so not part of the core returning team. So many young green individuals, as Jay Daniels was talking about there last Friday at the scrimmage practice. The fans very excited to hear this afternoon, and so are we, to get this season underway. And Ben Chomaluk getting set for this opening drive. Motion on the left side now. Looks like it's onside. There's a pass to the outside, and it just bounces off of the crest and down into the AstroTurf, and that'll be an incomplete pass on the opening down of this game. And as I mentioned, this Battle of the Rock, such a polarizing experience for both of these teams, but they're really looking to build, and you can tell by the different faces and in the lineup here for the VI Raiders today that they've got lots to learn, and they've got a great coach to do it with, and of course, Jay Daniels, the interim coach. But next season, it'll be Andrew Harris taking over in that category, but they'll be working together as he's normally the defensive coordinator, and that one thrown right up to about the center line there, but it's in the grass there before Paul Romanoff able to turn around and try and grab that one, and that'll bring out the punting unit here as the VI Raiders. A couple of pass attempts there, and that last one just a little bit behind Romanoff, as we were mentioning. Ben Chomaluk getting a feel for his new group, his new core. As they get ready to boot this one away. The snap was low and troublesome, so they send it out and it lands about the 45, takes a couple of skips, and now it's picked up there and run back the other way, getting about 7 or 8 yards on that run before he's brought down and wrapped up. And in on the tackle there, that was Ashton Robertson for the Raiders. And once again, thank you for joining us on bcfctv.com, where you're going to be able to catch all of the action this season. Also, if you're a TELUS Optic user, I believe the channel is 1981, but we'll most TELUS Optic users are quite robust in their knowledge and use of the system, but I believe it's channel 1981, and out comes the Rebels offensive unit to get things underway here, and we'll get a look there. I'll tell you, in the warm-up, they were looking quite disciplined and in unison. Head coach Dexter Janke was mentioning in that piece there with Gideon Hill, and again, that's on the website, as I mentioned, bcfootballconference.com. You can go and check out that interview with both head coaches, and talking about how he's waiting for the payoff for these players. All of the hard work come to fruition, as he mentioned. There's the handoff at the line of scrimmage, brought down, and a good hand there, reaching up. Big number 2, just getting a small piece of his left thigh, but able to drag him down right near the line of scrimmage. And it looks like it will be a 2nd and 10 situation. Basically a stop right at the line of scrimmage there for the Raiders. Some new faces, as we talked about here, and some big products brought in. One most notably from Saskatchewan, Kane Precision. Oh, and there's a pass down the middle, and there's an interception right off of the line there as the official points, and it is definitely a turnover on the part of the VI Raiders. So an interception there is going to bring about good field position here. Initially, we thought that the Westshore Rebels were going to have the ball punted to them, but they did elect for the play, and so now with just a minute 45 gone in this opening quarter, the Westshore Rebels with good field position, and they're going to start to work here. They line up. 2 on the right side. They hand off there to the running back, tries to charge through, and he gets just over the center line, making it to about the 53-yard line. A good handoff there, as they actually had good play action there at the line of scrimmage, and it looked like for a moment there they were going to send the ball off to the far side of the field, but a good play there as the fullback definitely helped confuse the matter there. A swing out to the right side, escapes one tackle, heading back the other way. That's Garen Hardisty, and he's got some room. He breaks away from the tackle. He's down to the 10, the 5. He's unchallenged. It's a touchdown, and the Westshore Rebels get off to a great start. I was telling you about the great field position, and boy, did they ever take advantage of that. Garen Hardisty, the running back, just took that ball and he broke an important tackle at about the 57-yard line. And they're going to look to add the point after here as the Westshore Rebels out to a quick start here in this Battle of the Rock at Nanaimo District Secondary School. And that one looks good from here. And it's indeed a 7-0 lead here for the Westshore Rebels. Early, we're just 2.5 minutes played here in this opening quarter. And of course, the two incomplete passes by the Vancouver Island Raiders, unable to connect that second pass, and that really came back to haunt them as they gave up some good field position. And also the snap on the punt was a little bit low, and unfortunately they had to adjust to that time difference there, sending that punt away not quite as deep as they wanted to, and it left the Westshore Rebels in good position, and they now have jumped out to a quick 7-0 lead here against the VI Raiders. As I mentioned at the outset, the Westshore Rebels finishing second in the conference their last season. Dexter Janke, their head coach, mentioning in that piece there with Gideon Hill that the team is hungry. They know that they had a great season last year, but they also said that they wanted to learn what it was going to take to become a pure championship team, and you can tell by the excitement of the fans. There's quite a number of them congregated down, closer to where the VI Raiders are going to be receiving the football. There's a good chunk of fans there just really pouring on their support here as they made this trip here today. And a little mention there about there was an accident on the Malahat Highway, so that negated a quick start. Wow, and a heavy hit at the line, throwing a block, and that really closed down the amount of room. But Joey Reum, he just came in and he hit two VI Raiders. He went flying a little bit, but both of them went flying as well, and he opened up some room for his mates to get in and make the tackle, and that was right down around the, looks like they're going to spot it around the, looks like the 19-yard line. Raiders talking it over in the huddle now, and the backside official counting, making sure that they've got the right number of personnel out there. Chomaluk gets a snap from the center, throws the reverse there, and it's a tackle on the fumbled ball back in Raiders territory. And there wasn't much to be done with that ball as it came and hit Marcus Harvey right in the chest as the relay came on the lateral pass. And it was a difficult motion for him to accept that ball and start running in the direction that his forward motion was taking him. So the Raiders in some trouble here as they're backlogged deep in their own zone. But that's the beauty of football. You can chip away at it one drive at a time. Getting set now. Chomaluk having a look downfield. Now 3 on the right side. There's a flag up. He's on his hot seat. He's running. He gets caught by the jersey from behind, and now he's thrown down just right in front of the goal line. And a very spectacular tackle there as he was wrestled to the ground, and it was just a hard situation. He also had to contend with the goalpost being nearby, which is always nerve-wracking for a quarterback when you're deep in your own zone. There's something, it's almost like having an extra player or blocker out there that you have to contend with. He tried to get away to the outside, but Ben Chomaluk, as he scrambled, they were able to get a piece of his jersey, and it was just enough as they wrestled him to the ground. And now they're discussing what that flag on the play will mean. 2nd and 10, it reads up on the board, but we're going to have to wait and see where they spot this one. Oh, and they've moved it, so it looks like there was some type of penalty on the defensive unit. And I can't hear it being announced up here, but it has definitely moved the chains in a positive fashion for the Raiders, and this is a real gift for them. As the ball is brought up now further, a little bit further than they were when they first turned the football back on the punt return. Chomalok getting a bit of a breather here and a chance to load up. It's over the middle, grabbed, escaping one tackle and then two, but brought in nicely. And Morgan Crisp able to hang on to that one before he gets dropped down right about the 26-yard line. About 4.5 minutes off of the clock here in the first quarter. It's a 7-0 lead for the Westshore Rebels if you're just joining us. And pardon the early delay there. There was an accident on the Malahat Highway, so a lot of the Westshore fans and players. There's a pass to the outside, picked up, it was low, and now carried out over the out-of-bounds line. And there's 3 in on the tackle, and they take down Riker Sansbury, who picked up a few more on the play. And it looks very close to, yes, it is to the first down. So it looks like the VI Raiders will have a first down here, and that's a great play by Riker Sansbury to pick up that first down. The ball was a little bit low, and I did notice a few times in some of the scrimmages that Chomalok, he's got a great deep ball, but sometimes the shorter direct passes give him a little bit of trouble. Here's one now, and it got tipped on the way through. And up there getting an arm in the road, that was number 44, Pereze Odegon. So he got a little piece of that one, which sent the ball just a little bit downward and unable to be picked up. And that'll bring about second down here for the Vancouver Island Raiders. Kane Precision, the huge lineman here as he lines up. Very noticeable on the field. He's just an absolute beast of a player as he pushes off of a block, and he managed to open up a little bit of time for Chomalok, who breaks a tackle, and now he gets away somehow, and he gets clipped up at the line of scrimmage, and a good hand at the last moment. And that was Braden Look, the defensive back, who managed to reach down and just get a piece of Chomalok's cleat. Otherwise, he would have had probably another 7 or 8 yards on that play as he had broken loose. And again, Precision with a great block there, just buying Chomalok a little bit of time to scramble and spin, made that pivot, and he headed right up the middle, and the coaches got to love that play. Oh, and there was a punt, and there was a big throwdown on the field, and the fans were just amazed as one of the football players went flying. And there's number 3 with the ball as he carries the ball in. Got a couple of yards there, but what a crazy kick and turn of events is downfield. I'm sure you'll be able to see it on the replay, but one of the players was just upward thrown into the air, and a number of fans just oohing and awing as that play was developing. Just looking to see if there's, yes, it looks like there is a penalty, and it is against the Raiders on the play. So the chains being readjusted now. And right about the 48-yard line, the Rebels going to work. One in motion on the right side, barely onside on that play. They take it to the outside. Here's the running back. He's got it now. Carries around the outside. He's got one to beat. He got knocked down, and this could be a touchdown, and they are inside. And it's now a 13-0 lead carried in. And that was Ethan Picard who managed to break loose on the near side. And unfortunately, at the last moment, one of the cornerbacks was blocked and stumbled, so he was the last hope to be able to get over and get in the road of Picard. But Picard, once he broke from that initial tackle, he had a lot of room down the near side of the field, and he converts, running that one in, and it's 13-0. And the Westshore Rebels not quite 7 minutes into this one, and they are up and looking to add this extra point here to go up 14-0 on the VI Raiders in this first quarter here. There's the set, and it's up and through, and it almost hit the person up in the scissor lift there at the back end, who helps adjudicate whether the ball sailed in correctly or not. And he had a perfect view of that one as it sails in just inside the right bar. And it's a 14-0 lead for the Westshore Rebels. You know, watching them in the pregame and even right down to some of their some of the warm-ups and the tempo out on the field, you could just feel it's just so much energy for the Rebels, and they really have come out hungry here this afternoon. And the Raiders, for their part, they were able to string together some good plays. Unfortunately, a couple of great blocks on the part of the Rebels has opened up some field room and the ability for their running backs, particularly Picard, to get loose and get to the outside of the field. And Garen Hardesty also big there in that first opening drive for the Rebels. The Rebels talking things over just before this kickoff, and they've got to be very happy with where they are here at the outset of this one. 14-0 lead in this Battle of the Rock, and picking up right where they left off last season with that second conference finish, and just looking very organized. And there's the kickoff. It wasn't a full kick, as it was a bouncing ball picked up at the, and there's no yards being afforded there as the Rebels come crashing in. 3 of them, and most notably that was Peter Primo, the defensive back, getting in there and throwing a heavy hit, making sure that there was no additional yards on that run for the Raiders. So the Raiders will get their O-line out here and see what they can muster. It's always tough early in the season to get that rhythm and get that timing down, and you can see that they've still got some positive body. I'm looking for the right word, but they definitely have the right kind of vibe still. They look like they're ready to go. So they line up here around the 11-yard line. Lots of work to do. Ben Chomaluk, quick out, finds his man. A little bit of room around the outside, and he gets thrown out of bounds. And there's a flag on the play, and that could be a personal foul. As the little extra throw there on the end, that might be enough. As Murdy Tremblay got in there and added a little extra panache in the throw out of bounds. So the Raiders get to move the ball downfield here as the Rebels back up. And it's certainly fortuitous field position now for the Raiders after that call. And it was a nice pass to the outside, and forgot to mention that was Harmon Ahuja, the wide receiver, that picked up that gain. High ball, and that one sails out towards the out-of-bounds line near the 50-yard line on that first down for the Raiders. About 8 minutes left to go here in the opening quarter. A 14-0 lead opened up by the Rebels, who were able to make good use of a couple of great runs. Garen Hardesty and also Ethan Picard picking up that touchdown as he sailed around on the outside, and a couple of great blocks. They've got some huge players on this Rebels team, and you're seeing them in full swing now with some time. Chomaluk breaks away from one tackle. Can he get away from? No, he can't get away from number 91, who wraps him up and puts him down into the AstroTurf. That's Ty Ochit, pardon me, the defensive lineman, and he gets credit for the tackle as he heads off field, and that'll do it for the Raiders O-line. They were able to move the ball upfield, though, and getting it out of their own deep territory, which was a positive sign. And body language, pardon me, that was the term I was looking for earlier. But the Raiders still have it. They've still got that positive body language. There's a flag on the play. Kick is high and tumbling. Takes a bounce near the center line there and heads out over by the center line booth. And we'll have to see what this flag is on the play. But the flag was thrown up immediately as soon as the punter received the ball. So it definitely happened at the line of scrimmage. And it was from the backside there, from the backside official. And so it was definitely against the Raiders as they head back. Oh, they might be doing third down over again here. I'm not too sure because they're right away the Raiders are trading units out on the field, and now the Rebels following suit. Garen Hardesty heading out there, pardon me. And Pharrell Yakin Kenfak, he's also out there, the wide receiver. So Raiders will redo this punt. That one's high and away. And now picked up on the backside there by the Rebels, finding a little room up the middle, trying to avoid a tackle. And there was a nice drag down by Cole Dumont. If Dumont hadn't gotten in there, he might have picked up another 5 or 10 yards with that ball easily, but he was able to got him wrapped up by the thighs and brought him down to the AstroTurf. And again, the Westshore Rebels with some good field position here. One of the officials busy scribbling down. There's been a couple of calls here. And it looks like it was a roughing call against the Westshore Rebels. So now they've that negated most of that good return there. Rebels getting ready to hike the ball, now in motion. Fake action play up to the middle, and there's a catch wrapped up by a couple of Raiders and brought down to the turf. And the Rebels now inching right back up to where they were prior to that penalty, that little play at the line there that cost them 10 yards. A little bit of an extended huddle here for the Rebels as they decide what to do, going to work here at about the 46-yard line. 1st and 10. A snap. Long ball throwing down the sidelines, and it's caught. He turns around. Did he make it in? He was reaching over the cone. Yes, he made it. He just reached in and had both hands just over top of the pylon as he goes through the end zone. And that adds another 6 to the Rebels tally here. And just like that, it's 20-0. A great long ball on the near side of the field, and he just outpaced everyone. And he reels that one in for his second big play of the game. And the Raiders now needing to find a positive play here to sort of break this run, this rally here by the Westshore Rebels, who are certainly sporting their A game here this afternoon as they continue to find holes and send that ball deep. So now looking for the point after conversion here. Raiders just taking a knee, awaiting the discussion here by the officials. They're having a little discussion on the near side of the field about that scoring drive. Oh, I think they're trying to determine if it was indeed maybe. Okay. So we do have an injury here. It's number 41 down on the field, so that's why the player's taking an extra moment here. Sorry, there's the one of the giant floodlight lamp poles is right in my road, but I can see him now. He's being attended to by the trainer, and that's unfortunate for the Raiders. On top of the scoring drive, Isaiah Rogers down in a pile of discomfort there on the field as some of the fans watch on from the almost like board. Oh, I just lost. Okay. And Rogers still down on the field there, being attended to, and he really hasn't moved a lot other than switching over from his side to right onto his back there as he's still being assessed by the trainer. It's Casey Chalet Ellerby down on the field. Oh, now he's looking to try and get at least to an upright sitting position. So the fans giving Rogers a hearty send-off as he's being walked off the field there by Casey Chalet Ellerby. And now we'll get down to the business of this extra point here attempt by the Westshore Rebels as they look to make it a 21-0 lead here in this first quarter with just 5:41 remaining. A great little dance routine that opened up the opening segment here at the field, and a very cool little smoke show there by the Raiders as they ran onto the field with some dark reddish smoke bomb kind of material, and they went running out. And of course, one of the local Lucky Ones chapter motorcycle able to provide some of the sound feedback for that play. Here we go, up and through the uprights. And it looks like that one was good for the extra point, and it is indeed 21-0 for the Rebels. So lots of work to do for the Raiders as they get out their punt return team. See if they're able to start chipping away at this 3-touchdown lead held by the Rebels here in the first quarter. I was speaking to Jay Daniels at one of the practices last week, and you really have to admire his approach and the culture that he brings with him, having been a part of many different successful teams here, not just on the island, but also on the mainland as well. And really, you foster the right team culture, and you get the players buying into the program as he's starting to do. They really, he said, as he was speaking to Gideon Hill today, that sometimes they don't always want to, hear his voice, or they don't want to, be told what they need to do. But one of the things that he said that I really appreciate, he said that great players want to be told what they need to do better. And indeed, the pupils that are able to study this game and fill all of the small parts of their game that need a little bit of work, well, you see the results as they put in the time. That kickback, as the flag goes flying, the ball out of bounds right around the 5-yard line there for the VI Raiders. And as I mentioned, the Raiders have to go to work now, see if they can get a little bit of if they can get a little bit of offense rolling here. And even just getting that acclimation with their fellow players and a little bit of chemistry going here would be just a win in itself here, as they're down early. Ocean at the line on the left side. Oh, and they get dropped inside. It is a quick tackle. And in their very, very short matter of time, Christopher Vincent got in and got that tackle as he just broke through the offensive line and on the near side, got a little piece of Chomiluk and then was quickly surrounded by some teammates to help bring the play to a close. From the 37 now, the VI Raiders. Chomiluk, two receivers on the near side, takes a look, throws it down, and it's just in the dirt before they're able to get to that ball, and that's going to bring about a change of units on the field. Unfortunately, Harmon Ahuja was the intended receiver, but as he turned around to make that play, the ball was just a little bit behind him and he was unable to get there. Well, we'll see what kind of a kick they can get off here. They're definitely kicking into the wind a little bit, but it's a good solid kick, about 35 yards, and now picked up again once on the backside. Alexa run the near side. Oh, and just pushed out of bounds. Looked like he might be able to shake free of that tackle, but in there was Morgan Crisp, and Crisp will get credit for taking him down, and that brings about the change in units here as the Westshore Rebels with good field position there, right about the VI Rebels 47-yard line. 1st and 10. Sporting a 21-0 lead. And to be perfectly frank, the Westshore Rebels looking very disciplined and organized here early. And as I mentioned, they had just oodles of energy as they took to the field. There's the handoff for the running back, and he fakes some room around the outside. Gets pushed, but he doesn't quite get out to the outside bounds, and he's brought down by 2 players. And it looked like maybe for a moment he might have given up the ball, but he hangs on tight, no fumble, and that's a big move of the chains as they head down the sidelines. And that one good for nearly 20 yards. And now just around the VI 23-yard line. So the Rebels threatening again, but it looks like they've called a timeout. And looks like there might potentially be a substitution there as Christopher Vincent, who had that tackle on a play earlier. He's going to take a knee, talking to the trainer just near the sidelines. But nothing significant like the like that earlier hit to Isaiah Rogers, who was clearly shaken up on that play. And head coach Jay Daniels of the VI Raiders, he did talk about the mentality of football players and how everything hurts when you're out on the field. Almost any play or anything you go to do, there's always a cost, and it's usually pain is the cost. And it just reminded me as Rogers was being tended to there that this is definitely a game for not the faint of heart. These young men training hard and putting in a lot of work just to be in the physical condition that they're in. But no matter what kind of condition you're in, you're always susceptible to the aches and pains and the things that get thrown at you at this level of competition. And the Westshore Rebels definitely have brought lots of competition today. 3.5 minutes to go here in the first quarter, and it's been all Rebels. But the Raiders have been able to put together a few good drives, but just nothing to march down the field deep enough to penetrate the end zone. Rebels now looking downfield into the, and it hits the upright and comes down, and who knows, maybe that would have been right into the arms of the wide receiver, but my goodness, that was close. It definitely looked like it had the right trajectory. But it hits the far upright and comes down fortuitously for the VI Raiders. Three Raiders heading off the field as they change up the look here on this defensive line. The middle linebacker trying to push his way through, and that forced a quick throw from the quarterback, but the ball going deep and wide. And Tsesi putting that one up, but unable to find the receiver, who was just a bit too underthrown for the ball position. Now 2nd and 10 as the Westshore Rebels once again are within scoring range. And they've had some big plays from Garen Hardisty. Ethan Picard also been very dangerous here this afternoon, and now the center directing traffic as the Rebels getting ready to hike this ball, and they fake the handoff in motion. Tessie, and he gets tripped up, and that was a good play as he tried to get airborne, but he got clipped in midair there by Kaya Saunders, the defensive back, getting just enough of him, and that was right around the 6-yard line, so kept him from getting into pay dirt territory. But again, the Rebels just continue to move the chains and add yards here in this first quarter. They've come out just flying here in this Battle of the Rock. Good crowd here today, and you look out, it's just a beautiful day for outdoor sports viewing. And as I mentioned at the outset there, just before kickoff, that the Nanaimo Night Owls baseball team will be playing shortly on the adjacent field, so you might hear a lot of noise in this general vicinity. Raiders getting set on the line. Big defensive task here to keep these Rebels out. Tsesi looks, throws over the middle, and that one's caught. And that's a touchdown. And again, another great play as they used the play action and then sent it just on the near side. And not a cornerback around for a good 5 or 6 yards as he hauls that one in. And a great play action by the Rebels. And 27-0, that's the lead now as the Rebels continue to pour it on here in this opening quarter. That one, of course, good for the point after, so it's a 28-0 lead. And the Westshore Rebels can do no wrong here in this first quarter. The VI Raiders, of course, there was an important penalty there on that last drive that really got the Rebels within striking distance, and I wasn't able to tell what the call on the field was, but we'll certainly be able to tabulate that later and see what exactly the call was. But it was a big play for the Rebels, and they throw it into the end zone again. T. Sessi having a great day back there, orchestrating things from the backside. And the Rebels getting ready to kick off here with just 1:46 to go in this first quarter. And will the Raiders be able to find some offense here, or maybe a good punt return, get something positive going here? Miguel Dominguez awaiting this kickoff up on the front line. Same with Aiden Leslie. And now they head back as the ball is sent down to about the 7-yard line. Here's the return. Shakes off one tackle and now gets dropped down just before the 30-yard line. So not too bad field position here for the Raiders to work with as they really want to put together something here to end this first quarter on a positive note and try and emulate what the Rebels have been doing, and that's just moving those chains. Lots of good throws by T. Sessi, and the Raiders O-line taking to the field now. So from their own 29-yard line, the Raiders getting ready to go to work and hopefully have a little bit more time of possession here, get on that ball and spend a little bit of time working the clock, hanging onto the ball, and generate some positive mojo here. Ben Kromeluk handed off, and that one was stuffed by a number of players that just clogged up the middle, but in particular, that was Chris McLarty, who really stopped up the gap and didn't give the runner any forward momentum. Just clogged up that hole, and there's some, as I mentioned, some very big players on the field today, and a good number of them do belong to the Rebels. Even on the near side, defensive back Murdy Tremblay, he's throwing his weight around. He did receive one penalty earlier for an excessive amount, but there's a throw to the outside, and that one unable to hook up with Riker Sansbury as it was coming in from behind him. He was looking from his left to his right, and as the ball arrived, he also heard some footsteps on that far side. $28-0 here at NDSS. And the crowd anxiously waiting for the Raiders to get something up on the board, but they're going to probably have to wait here until at least the second quarter before they can do that. They're going to have to punt this ball away. As the clock is ticking now, just a dozen seconds remaining. Ball takes 2 skips, and now it's picked up on the backside, a usual taker. Number 3 as he heads down the near sidelines, and he did it again. He's looking for some room. There's just one man back to beat, and he's inside. And it's another touchdown for that punt return. And many of his mates coming to meet him off of the sidelines, with the referee telling his mates they better stay off on the sideline. But there's a lot of joy on the field belonging to the Westshore Rebels as they continue to just break this game open there with that 35-0 score. But it's more just they're able to, and that was Zion Brown, and that's a touchdown. Boy, he's been busy today, and he's been given a lot of work. But Zion Brown with another touchdown score, and his teammates are just ecstatic about his performance today. He's really turned on the jets. He can break loose from tackles, and right at the 40-yard line, he broke an important one. There's the point after. And it is 35-0 for the Westshore Rebels. Zion Brown continues to just turn on the jets, but he's so versatile, and he was able to change gears very quickly. It looked like he was going to try and break out towards the far side of the field, and he made one quick pivot and went right in between 2 Raiders and found some room. And the rest is history, but he's seems to really favor this near side of the field. That's twice he's taken the ball in over that way. I've seen the Rebels send him out on patterns over to the far side of the field, but he hasn't seen the ball in those situations. So it's a very play-specific action that head coach Dexter Janke has, and it's really catering well to Zion Brown's style, and he puts them up 35-0. So they're going to switch sides of the field. And the VI Raiders really hoping to get something going here on this return. And T. Sessi, of course, and the quarterback role has been just everything that Westshore could have hoped for to start off the season today. So they'll have their home opener next week. Oh, and a heavy hit right at the line. And look at that. Just came in like a freight train, and that was DeMar Honstein. And he just ran over the ball carrier there at about the 14-yard line. So the Raiders really going to talk it over here, try and come up with something. Maybe change up the playbook a little bit. I'm sure Jay Daniels is looking for anything on the sidelines that he can work with to get this proverbial ship turned around here. But for now, the Westshore Rebels fully in command in this one. Second quarter of play. Looking deep. Over his shoulder. Oh, and he almost had it, and there's a flag on the play. And it was a beautiful outstretch there, but looking like he's in some discomfort there. Harmon Ahuja, as he reached out, and he, right at the last moment, I believe that he was hit, but he is down on the field, and he's removed his helmet as the trainer is back out once again. And what a difficult reception that would have been to make for anyone, but being hit at the same time. So I'm not sure what the call on the field will be, but it looked like there might have been a push off at the last second. It's hard to say, but it looks like they will spot the ball. So it looks like 10 yards earned the hard way, but they could have had so much more. A beautiful attempt to receive that ball, and Harmon Ahuja just about reeled it in, and that was really getting the fans excited as he stretched out for that one. So about the 27-yard line, the Raiders going to work from there. Quick action on the swing out. Brought in and brought down just about as quickly. And that was Hayden Day with the reception. Pickup of about a couple on that play. So as they swing it out on the near side, the Raiders trying to maybe move the ball a little bit more to the middle of the field, give them a couple of more options here as they talk things over in the huddle. The huddle breaks. And they've got to hurry up this play here. Now 3 breaking out on the right side, swinging out. Sends the ball down, and it's, nearly intercepted right near the sidelines at the 40 as one of the Rebels was up in the air, and I couldn't quite make out from here which player it was, but I'll have it in a moment. There he is. It's Logan Hansen nearly grabbing that ball in midair, but he had to jump up, and that was probably the main reason he was unable to come down with it. But again, the Raiders trying to go through the air, and that one incomplete, so they're spotted right about the 26-yard line. So the ball was in the dirt, but he gets it up and away, and he managed to kick it. Might have lost a few yards, though, searching for that one. Near the out-of-bounds line, received one push, but he's still in bounds. Now he's running, he gets through one tackle. Now he's picked up and lifted right near the out-of-bounds, but that's maybe about the 7-yard line. So incredible field position now for the O-line for the Westshore Rebels as their special teams continue to do great things out on the field. and managing to stay just in bounds on that run. And the Westshore Rebels just continue putting on the pressure and really getting a chance to get a solid look at their offensive line and what this offense is capable of and what they could potentially do this season. Very successful year last season, and they look very much ready. There's the pitch over to the left side of the field. Making a couple of moves, and he's inside, and that's a touchdown once again for the Rebels. And they punch this one in from 7 yards out. A nice run and a perfectly placed pitch from the quarterback. And T. Sessi just continuing to execute those plays perfectly out on the field. That ball was exactly where it needed to be and gave him lots of time to think about what he was going to do with that football and where he was going to take it. Drives it wide to the far side of the field, and once again the referee's arms both going up. It's a touchdown, and it's 41-0 for the Rebels. There's the extra point, and it squeaks in on the inside of the near post, and that's the extra point. We're up at 42-0 here in this BC Conference football, or football conference game. The Raiders having an uncharacteristic start here. Might be the opening day jitters. It could be probably more the fact that there's 37 players that are just learning the system, that are just getting ingrained into this. And the Rebels just continuing to put the pedal to the metal here as they've opened up a 42-0 lead here in this second quarter. And they'll kick this ball away to the Raiders, who have had a couple of good plays, but they haven't really been able to string together much of a drive, and that's going to have to change here if they're going to start eating away at this lead here in the second quarter. T. Sessi and Zion Brown, they've been big factors here this afternoon in this one-sided contest so far. Raiders picking it up at their own 20, getting away from one tackle, but no more. A.J. Carr had that ball, but he wasn't able to get too far as the Rebels just really coalescing very well. They're supporting each other very well on these special teams, and there's not many gaps between them and not a lot of room for the Raiders to run here. So they have been doing well to air it up, get the ball up in the air, and keep this defensive line honest, so to speak. Ben Chomaluk has three on the near side. Looks for one of them, sends it down the middle, and it was a in and out of the arms of Felice Toscano as he nearly brought that ball in, but he had that backside pressure, and I think as the ball came right to his chest, he received a hit right from the backside at the same time. But Chomaluk with a good throw there, and the ball was where it needed to be. It was just good pressure. And there you can see on the replay, coming from the backside, and that was Faranmi Okunlola with the hit, making that an incomplete pass. Chomaluk once again throws, and it's deep. It's a good high ball, but it's intercepted deep. Big interception here, and Westshore Rebels turn the ball over once again on that deep ball from Ben Chomaluk. And again, lots of reason to celebrate for the Rebels as they head over to some very ecstatic teammates there on the sidelines as they turn that ball over. Ben Chomaluk with a bit of an overthrow there and just unable to get the ball into the right hands. And once again, it's that defense. And you can see that pressure on the outside as Ty Ochitwa just came steaming off of the side, and then that big turnover. But a great job, though, Riker Sansbury tying up that right leg to make sure that the runner couldn't get any more yards on that interception. Rebels pass on the near side. It's picked up by Kwame Franklin. Gets wrapped up and brought down to the turf at around the 52-yard line. And a number of Raiders in on that tackle, but primarily Brevin Arnell in on that sack. So the ball at the 53 for the Rebels. And once again on the near side, Kwame Franklin, who made that last reception. Lots of time for the quarterback. Throws it up the middle, and it goes off a shoulder and then down into the dirt. And that was a good play there by Kaya Saunders, as the defensive back had good man-to-man coverage. And as he was reaching in, trying to deflect that ball down, it went off of his shoulder pad. And also a really good job, too, by Jacob Gilman, the safety, stepping in and cutting down that angle. Good defense there by the Raiders, and something to build on here, but they are down 42-0 here in the second quarter of play. Rebels with the ball, operating from their 53, and they're going to send it back for the punt. And it bounces near the 30 out of bounds. And that's where the Raiders will go to work now. Lots of time still left on the clock here in the second quarter. So yeah, they might be under a heavy lead to work away at, but there's still lots to be gleaned from this game. And you know, Jay Daniels spoke about it with Gideon Hill earlier this morning on, if you check on YouTube there, the bcconferencefootball.com, was talking about how they have nothing to lose and everything to gain, and that's a great mindset for this young Raiders team. As I was saying before, 37 players on the roster that haven't really seen this kind of action, that they're being molded even as we speak. And Jay Daniels said it was a steep learning curve. Ben Chomaluk around to the outside. There's a flag on the play, and it was in and through the arms of Peter Primo of the Rebels. There was a flag on the backside, though, and we'll have to see what that is. But Chomaluk probably happy that the ball only sailed through Peter Primo's hands. So it looks like it did go against the offensive line. So some more adversity here for the VI Raiders to overcome as they huddle up just outside of their own 15-yard line. Ball around the 21-yard line here as they send the center in to snap this ball. Ben Chomaluk has the halfback in behind him. He dishes off. He's on the run, breaks through a tackle, had one other good tackle there, and finally brought down, but a very good run and a very positive one. Morgan Crisp taking that ball, and he just put his head down and legs charging forward, and he brings the ball all the way to about the 34-yard line. So a good pickup and a first down indeed for the Raiders. Some positivity now for the team as they continue to get a feel for this caliber of competition that they're up against. The Rebels just having a great day as far as special teams are concerned. Chomaluk takes a look, evades, rolls out to the left side. Just going to keep running. Why not? No one's stopping him, and he takes it out of bounds right near the 45-yard line. So a very smart run by Ben Chomiluk, and he just took what he was given. He was looking downfield and he didn't like what he saw, and he runs it down the near side, and he's moving those chains himself. Good run by Ben Chomiluk. Look at that pivot that he makes there over to the outside as he's rolling, and then that little stutter step there, and that was just enough to get away from Shamal Sterling. So a great little pivot there as Chomiluk, now he hands off once again. Familiar face picking up that ball, and Crisp charges it down maybe for about 5 yards there as he gets it right near the, I'm just trying to see where they're going to place it. Looks like it'll be about the 49-yard line. So for the first time, the Raiders putting together a number of good offensive plays here, and they're really mixing it up, getting Morgan Crisp involved in the run, much the same way that the Rebels have empowered Zion Brown to take the ball and just continue to pound it downfield. Fake on the handoff. Little light over there's a flag on the play. Oh, and a up-high tackle as Harmon Ahuja brought down rather unceremoniously as the flag came early in the play. Going to see how this one plays out. But it happened very quickly after the snap, and it might be going against the Raiders here, so could make this a second and long situation. So the call was declined by the Rebels, and there's Dexter Janke on the sidelines. He's talking to his unit as they come off. He's very happy with today's performance so far, obviously. And his troops definitely, as he mentioned to Gideon Hill, that they know what it takes, and they want to be the absolute best that they can be. Good high kick, and the Rebels nearly slipping there around the 30-yard line, breaks to the near side. Stops up hard, but he's brought down to the turf there, and that was a good tackle right there on the spot. Favier Analike doing a good job. He made sure he didn't overrun on that play, reaching out the arm and getting a piece of the ball carrier. And that was Malik Gagne-Smith with the carry. He nearly got away. You can see him get his right hand down there as he changed sides for the football, and he kept himself upright and running. And Gagne-Smith getting credit for the tackle there. There's the handoff, pounding it down the far side. Garen Hardisty gets dragged down from behind right around the 47-yard line. So a pickup of a few there. Hardisty having a great opening quarter, as he was a big part of the reason the Rebels were knocking on the door so quickly. That one big explosive play, I think it was over 25 yards there in the first quarter, and just so many weapons here available to the Rebels. Two in motion on the near side, but they give the handoff there, sending it up through the middle. Broke a couple of tackles, but he didn't break the last two. And once again, Garen Hardisty giving the ball and making headway as he gets tackled right around the 44-yard line, 45-yard line. So there's that quick play action as he hands off, and a nice couple of stutter steps there, and that got a couple of Raiders to collide with each other. And also big number 79, Xavier Venkatia, getting right in there, causing havoc, closing down space. Here's the throw down the middle, and it's in and out of the arms and dropped. And the Rebels will lose it down there, as that one was nearly caught by Christopher Vincent. He was favoring something there earlier before he left the field on their former drive here in the second quarter of play. There's about 5:50 left here in this first half. Christopher Vincent with a good opportunity there to really get them into the heart of Raiders territory, but third down, big defensive play for the Raiders. Can they shut them down here and get the ball back with some time left in the quarter? There's the swing out pass that's picked up on the near side, jumps over one man, and Zion Brown trying to keep going, but he gets driven finally out of bounds, but he picks up some more yardage there in the process. And I believe he's got enough for the first down. As he gets a helmet tap there from Christopher Vincent. Oh, and that was a Kieran Poisson, pardon me, with the catch, and he was looking back, but you see him put on the brakes extremely hard, but then he continues over to the same side, and look at that leap as he avoids a tackle and picks up an extra 4 yards on that. There'd be high jumpers that would be impressed with that amount of vertical. 2 in motion on the near side. There's the handoff. Finds a seam, but gets tackled down low, and that's Malik Gagne-Smith with a pickup of a few more as they get down to, looks like the 32-yard line. So the Rebels continuing to control the ball and the clock here as the second half continues to melt away here. Just 4 minutes and change left in the second quarter. And a 42-0 lead for the Rebels, and they're threatening here once again. There's the chuck pass out to the near side. 2 tacklers in, and the helmet pops off, and that's definitely an official down as Malik Gagne-Smith carries it up for a few more yards there. And I think they're just being cautious there as his helmet did get knocked off, but he collects it and he looks unfazed. And Kieran Poisson gives him a tap as he appreciates that good, strong effort. It looked like he was going to get dropped a couple of yards before that. Oh, and it was just the backside pressure as Marcus Harvey came running in and delivered that blow to help drive him to the ground. Marcus Harvey with some strength on display there. Third down. There's the run up the middle. Stopped short, I believe. As once again they tap the shoulder of Malik Gagne-Smith. Just looking to see what the call is on the field there and where they spot the ball. It's right about the 21-yard line, and the lead could be stretched even further here on this first down with a fresh set of downs. Having a look downfield, he airs it up high and far, but it's in and out of the arms, and a great defensive play. Jumping up step for step, Kaya Saunders with the play there, and a big relief from the defense after that fresh set of downs was obtained by the Rebels. Saunders step for step with them, and again, one of the things I noticed in the pregame warm-up was that the Rebels, they were doing these high kick stretches and all doing them in unison, so they really favor that agility and that ability to jump. And Dexter Janke has his troops playing very well today. They're going to try the same side. It goes far and deep. Oh, and there's a flag on the play. There might have been a push-off there as he was jumping up to turn around and face the ball. It looked like he might have gotten a bit of a push there, and the fans were excited because it looked very similar to the previous play, and that was a great ball being thrown, and you could see that flag arriving on the field just as they both went up to counter that. And again, Kaya Saunders involved in the play. So just 2:40 left in this first half that's been dominated, of course, by the Westshore Rebels. And they break out of the huddle now. And the ball right about the 7-yard line, so T. Sessi looks, turns to the right, throws, and it's inside and caught, and the lead is extended, and Zion Brown adds, or pardon me, actually I thought that was Zion Brown for a moment, but I couldn't quite see all that way downfield. But regardless, it is now a 48-0 lead, and not as much of a celebration now by the Rebels, as they've really hiked up the compete level here today and just continuing to flex this offensive muscle as they get ready to try and tally this extra point on the conversion. Dexter Janke has to be loving everything he's seeing out there here on this NDSS field today, as that conversion is good. And so now a 49-0 lead for the Westshore Rebels. And another look at that throw. Is it just caught in time? And yes, indeed, sorry, that was Zion Brown. It was so hard to see from all the way back here, but just the Raiders just unable to continue to cover every single threat here on this team. But Zion Brown, of course, definitely one of those. And Kamiar Mohammed was close to being able to tip that ball, but he just couldn't reach. And it was another well-thrown ball by T. Sessi. So look at some of the fans enjoying themselves here at the park. A little Frenchie, little French bulldog. We have one at home. Her name's Willow, and they're great dogs. And I don't know if it's a little known fact, but they just recently became the most popular domesticated breed. For the longest time, it was trying to think of the name of the dog, but French Bulldogs now. I think COVID had a lot to do with that. Great dogs to have, and they don't require tons of attention or tons of exercise like some dogs do. So a pretty big lead here for the Westshore Rebels as we get down to the last 2.5 minutes of this opening half. And the Raiders just trying to orchestrate some successful drives, and they've really had a look at their defensive line, but they'd really like to get an extended look here with Ben Chomaluk in control. Play underway. They're going to reverse the field here, but in tight and close quarters. Once again, Ty Ochitwa managing to get in there and get a hand on the running back there. Bring about second down. Little bit of a different defensive look here as the wideouts are really far out there. Oh, through the middle and up through the hands of Morgan Crisp. He just had that one drop in and out. And you could tell right away by the look on his face and the body language that he would have liked to have done better there. He's just in and out of the arms. But, you know, when you're it's so much different when you're watching the game and you can see it from every angle, and it, you know, a person might think that was just an easy ball to grab. But when, pardon me, when you have a 250 to 275 pound lineman breathing down your neck, and you can hear footsteps and people running behind you as they kick this one away, you're prone to hurry up things a little bit more than usual. Ball tumbles down. Now at around the 50 as they continue to sprint downfield, and the Malik Gagne-Smith finally tackled there by Morgan Crisp, and that will bring the offensive line out for the Rebels. As the first half, perhaps mercifully for the VI Raiders, at least at this junction, coming to a close, and they'll be able to talk about the things that they want to tune up and improve for the second half. But overall, you just have to, I believe Jay Daniels would just look at it as a learning opportunity here for all of these young green players as they learn the system and they get ingrained into VI Raiders football. And he said it's not an easy acclimation for these players, that there's a lot of training and work that goes into it, a lot that they have to learn. Ball sent downfield and probably 10 yards away from the nearest receiver as T. Jesse sending that one over on the near side. Incomplete, and that'll bring about 2nd down and 10 for the Rebels. And the typical 5 deep here on this O-line. 2 in motion on the near side with the halfback near him up through the middle, and a solid hit, and he goes to his knees, so that play is done. And good hit there to end the play for the Raiders, but again, it's a complete ball, and T. Jesse just continues to put that ball right into the arms of his receivers. Jacob Gilman in on that tackle, on that defensive play. Good solid hit, making sure that it put the receiver Christopher Vincent down to his knees, stopping the play. Right around the 34-yard line. The handoff given here now. Once again on the near side, jumps over one tackle, has his right leg tied up, and that'll stop play. As the first person to wrap him up was Jacob Gilman. He was in on the last play as well. And Gilman doing Yalman's work out there right now, just trying to give his team some defensive savvy and really just trying to change momentum here for the VI Raiders. So the ball right around the 23-yard line. About a minute left here in this first half. Bit of a high snap. Oh, T. Jesse made a nice move. He faked the pass. Now he gets over one, and he takes a jump, and it lands him right down around the 10-yard line. So great field position here to round out the second quarter, and the main question is will the Raiders be able to keep them from putting up more points here on the board before they head to this first half intermission? So many weapons available to T. Jesse, and on the times when all of those options are covered, he can just take it and run the ball. He made a nice little fake pass there that gave him a little bit of breathing room, and as I mentioned, was able to jump over the one tackle. Gives the handoff, taken far to the outside. Garen Hardisty, and he got tripped up just shy of breaking in, and you can tell by his body language he would have loved to have gotten that one hammered in, but he's not going to argue the call too heavily, considering the score and the momentum that the Rebels have at this point. So just 26 seconds remaining on the clock in this first half, 49-0. The Rebels sporting a great opening day here at NDSS Park. And there's the Roll Focus van in the background if you look really closely, but of course the just the friendly chats right over by the fence there. The good crowd on hand today, and some good support too for the Westshore Rebels. You could hear some of them there during some of the play action, and especially after that one touchdown by Zion Brown, they really came to life and really showing great support here. And some of them were probably tied up in that traffic on the Malahat, so they've got extra reason to get jumping around here at NDSS today. 10-yard line, snaps back, looks to his right, throws, and that's caught, and it's a touchdown, and the Westshore Rebels add to their lead. And I believe that was Christopher Vincent hauling that one in. And they continue to deluge the Raiders with this high-powered offense. Christopher Vincent, he had a little bit of concern as he was jumping up to catch that ball, but it was such a well-placed ball by T. Jesse that he really didn't have to do much other than get himself vertical, and he hauls that one in. That strong arm as he just fires it down over so deep into the end zone. And there was just very little that Nathan Halliot could do as he tried to reach in and get a piece of that ball as it sailed high and into the end zone, probably just 5 or 6 yards from being out of the touchdown zone. And I think they're going to call it a half, and that indeed is what's happening as the referees on the field. They leave with their flags intact. They gave them a little wave, and both teams now going to head off for this first intermission. And there's really only one major storyline here this afternoon, and that has to be the offense of the Westshore Rebels, and they have just really been sparkling here today. T. Jesse and company, there's so many well-thrown balls, but the special teams as well, including that interception earlier by Damar Honstein. And that was a good scramble there by Ben Chomalik, but 55-0 here as we head to the half, and it's certainly a tough day for Raiders fans. There's always that first game jitters and the butterflies that people have as they get ready to open up a season, but just a reminder that it's still only one game, and there's a lot that can still happen and unfold in this season. But for the moment being, and there was that close call, that touchdown by Zion Brown as he leapt over, reaching out just so athletically, and also there Kieran Passant hauling that pass in. Just some great football on display here by the Westshore Rebels, and there's Zion Brown. He's pointing to the fans, and that's really the kind of only body language you need to know. His team has been dominant, and they've just been great on both sides of the ball, but as I mentioned, particularly their special teams, and Zion Brown has really been a revelation here today. Some excellent action, and we're gonna step aside for this first intermission, and thank you so much for joining us here on BC Conference Football, and we've got more action coming up for you in the second half here with the Roll Focus.
Do you want a dealership to tackle the banks and get you the lowest rates possible? I know I do. That's why you gotta visit vidrives.ca today to buy a car the easy way. 3 steps and the car's right at your door.
Do you want to touch down to savings and intercept a great deal?
I know I do, with over 600 pre-owned vehicles right here, right now, and 18 lenders. I mean, there's nowhere else to shop.
Okay, everybody, let's have a great show. Look out, Karen Bassad. Got it.
There from Cole Pickup, who will pass it there to Jesse King, who scores again!
At Westshore Motorsports Park.
Crossing the box for Parmar, and she's done it.
Are you tired of other dealerships fumbling your deals? I know I am. Visit Canada's #1 Google rated dealership at vidrives.ca.
And you can see on the field now the Westshore Rebels getting it all warmed up, keeping it stretched out and keeping limber here as they roll into the second half of play, up at a very comfortable 55-0 lead. And there was talk in the intermission, potentially some of the backup players will take the field here. So maybe mercifully giving VI Raiders a little bit more of an opportunity here to sport their stuff and test out their offensive line and see what they've got here this season. And for Jay Daniels' crew, I'm sure it's going to be a first half that they'd like to just remember for the things that they've learned here out on the field today, and just such great preparation you can tell by the Westshore Rebels as a whole. And we were speaking with Heather there. She helps organize all of the rosters and the official rosters for all of the BCFC games, and she was mentioning that that there's just such a great support in place for this team. And they were on the field hours before the game today, as you see. I can see Dexter Janke heading out there, running across the field as they're getting ready to kick off this second half here between the Westshore Rebels and the hosting VI Raiders, who are looking up at quite a significant deficit here to start this second half. But as mentioned, they might have a little bit easier task. There might be a few of the starters sitting, and we were also talking a little bit about the importance of an all-star quarterback like T. Jesse, who really that right arm of his was really on display right near the end of the second half there when he sent that rifle pass down the middle just to within a few yards inside of the back line there in the touchdown zone. And he can really let that ball go in a hurry. And some of the weapons we talked about, Dexter Janke talking to his troops and keeping them motivated and focused here. And he was telling Gideon Hill earlier today about how he wanted to validate the work and prep that this team has done, and they have certainly been validated here today. You know, it almost sounded like he had some high caliber unseen weapons, and really that's what's been prominent here today is this offensive power and the special teams work of the Westshore Rebels, who some would argue are basically an all-star team, and they're certainly putting on an all-star performance here today. And the VI Raiders just wanting to stay focused on continuing to acclimate their new players. 37 faces that yet to be integrated fully into this system. And the VI Raiders, of course, as we talked about at the outset, Andrew Harris of CFL fame, great running back, not just the BC Lions, but a number of teams. As his playing days come to a close, he's ready to get back to his grassroots. And certainly, I mean, I was talking to Jay Daniels about that, and what an opportunity for him as normally Jay Daniels, a defensive coordinator, and works on player culture and really keeping that dressing room tight. Well, I think there's going to be some magic made between him and Andrew Harris when they're able to combine forces. And I'm told that Andrew Harris is actually back east right now scouting some talent and looking to ever improve the Raiders roster with some talent from out east. So that's definitely a to be continued thing. A look out there at number 82. That's Chris McLarty for the VI Raiders, getting ready to start this second half. And the Raiders will be kicking the ball to the Westshore Rebels. And we're underway, and it's a good punt. Collected on the backside there. And once again, heading upfield, Malik Gagne-Smith avoids one tackle. He got clipped, but he's turned loose. He's heading out to the far side, gets past another, down to the 50. and he's just pushed out of bounds around the 55, and a good run by Malik Gagne-Smith, and the running back just continues. So the Raiders challenged there right off the outset by the good run. Gagne-Smith taking the far side of the field, and he just broke away from that first tackle, and you saw rounding around the outside, he just turned on the jets, got around Miguel Dominguez, and now they have the ball around the 47-yard line. There's the handoff at the line of scrimmage. Tapping him on the shoulder once again, but he gets caught down low. And in on the tackle there, that's Jacob Lazowski. Or pardon me, Lazowski, pardon me. I was, pardon me on that pronunciation. But again, getting that workload, Malik Gagne-Smith picks up the ball and continues to move it downfield. Right around the 39-yard line of the Raiders. Cornerback adjusting there for the Raiders. They pound it through the middle, but stopped right about the line of scrimmage and brought down once again Gagne-Smith. He gets up a little bit gingerly there. And the Raiders doing a good job of supporting each other there, closing up the gaps, and I think the last second movement there, Coyton McKinnon, I think he gave some sort of verbal heads up to his teammates there and helped them to move up and get closer to stuffing in that offense. There's the handoff once again, but he gets caught there on the backside, and that was a good reach out and just enough to get a piece of the ball carrier. And I want to say Caleb Charlton was in on that tackle, but I'm just going to wait for the replay here as the Rebels go into the huddle and discuss this next down. Heading into third down, and it'll be an important ball here for the Raiders if they can stop them short of the first down. Important play for the Raiders if they want to get this ball back. Fake the handoff. Sacked at the behind the line of scrimmage, and they're calling it down. And that's a big-time play by Caleb Charlton, and he's had 2 big plays in a row. An important job done there by Charlton. Great play as he reaches out, and he just used every iota of strength there to make sure that the quarterback, T. Jesse, was unable to release that ball. And you could see him just starting to get his arm in motion, but he felt that backside pull. And that was Charlton right on the spot. So the Rebels going to kick this one away. Ball spotted right around the 36-yard line. And it's away before they can get in and any more pressure from Marcus Harvey. There's a flag on the play as the ball's received in deep. There's a run around the outside. A.J. Carr taking off with it, and he gets grabbed right around the 10-yard line. And we'll see what the call is here from the officials. And it was shortly after Carr received that ball. And early indications is it might be against it looks like the call might have gone against the Raiders here. Oh, no, pardon me. It actually did go against Westshore. So they are moving the ball up right around the 20. So first down for the Raiders. The snap and the handoff immediately met by resistance at the line, and now he's taken back about 4 or 5 yards. And the first man in making his presence known, and that was Ty Ochitwa, who worked his way off of the outside, and he's such a big individual. He just got in there quickly, and he got a hand on the ball carrier. And that one takes the Raiders back for a loss on the play. Yeah, you could see him. He just caused Crisp enough consternation as he was trying to spin out of that pocket, and then receiving a little bit of help on the backside from Manny Fotio. There's a throw, and that one was tipped at the last second, and the intended receiver was Harmon Ahuja, but the ball had to be released very quickly as Ben Chomaluk didn't have a lot of time to prepare that ball to get rid of it. The Westshore Rebels defense just continuing to get the heat on as they surged up through the middle, forcing Chomaluk to break away and maybe get that pass off a little faster than he would have liked. And they're going to kick it away here. Ooh. Good pressure there by the Rebels. The ball takes a bounce. And once again, Gagne Smith takes a back step, but it got him going the right way. And now he's down the far side. Got away from one tackle and now right down around the 15-yard line. And another great run as Malik Gagne Smith just continues to get assignments here in the second half. Lots of great energy there on the sidelines for the Westshore Rebels. They're really enjoying the fruits of their labor today as the game preparation's really showing through here. And a good skip back there by Gagne Smith, and he avoided that tackle. And also some good blocking on the way there from Connor Way as he makes room for Malik Gagne Smith. Ball in play, thrown up high into the end zone, and it's intercepted by the Raiders. And that ball took one bounce, and then the second bounce fell right into the arms of the man that would make that play. And it's a big turnover for the Raiders as they stem this this momentum here that the Rebels had. And you can see the ball was into the end zone, and it bounced up on Chris McLarty, and then that one was brought down by Nathan Halliuk, and a big play there gets the ball back into Raiders possession, and some more time to look at this offensive line and try and generate something here. Use this momentum here from that interception. Chomaluk hands off into the backfield. Oh, and a good pressure surge up through the middle adds an extra 2 or 3 yards on top of that gain. Fabio Ranalike doing good work here for this offensive line as they try and string together a few plays and march this ball downfield. Just under 9 minutes here remaining in this third quarter, and the Raiders would love to spend time with the ball here now. And there's already a flag on the play before they're able to snap the ball, and it's from the backside official, so we'll have to wait and see what the call is. And it is going against the VI Raiders, so it looks like a 5-yard penalty. So they'll spot it right around the 21-yard line for the Raiders to work with. And if you're just joining us now here on BCFCTV.com or TELUS Optic, It's a 55-0 scoreline here for the boys in red and white. Rebels having a great day here at NDSS. Throwing up the field. There's the catch and reception. And wrapped up right away was number 5, Hayden Day. But the wide receiver gets the crowd excited, and some good mojo here as the Raiders moving the chains once again. And this is what they want lots of. They want lots of ball control, and they want to give these young guys time to run routes, get familiar with each other, and the timing. And that's probably one of the biggest things at this level is the timing, as it's a much faster game than they're used to before coming into the league. And there's a pass. It was down low, but unable to make magic on this time round. Hayden Day tried to get down underneath of it right around the 45-yard line, but that one eluding him this time. And second down here now as Ben Chomalik draws up the play that he wants, and he's got the halfback right beside him, has the arm up. Oh, he's going deep. He's putting this one up high, and they jump up, and that ball's incomplete right around the 35-yard line, as that one was a deep pass, and that'll bring about third down here. Pass was intended for Felice Toscano. It was interesting when I was speaking to Jay Daniels' wife leading up to this contest today. Michelle, she was talking about the fun Italian name that number 11 bears. She gave it her own little Italian accent, and that was good for a laugh early on. Great play there, and he nearly giving the Raiders some extra reason to be excited here, as the second half is shaping up a lot different than the first half started off. Within a couple of minutes, they found themselves down 14-0, and the Westshore Rebels just continued to pile on after that. Chomalik thought about throwing. Can he get away from this big tackle? No, he can't, and he's dragged down to the turf by big 91. That's Ty Ochitwa. And he's been a thorn in the VI Raiders offensive line side all day. Such a big player, and he just, when he reaches up, I'm sure he's casting shadows there that Ben Chomalik has a difficult time seeing around, and he reached up high and then just grabbed him around the waist and brought him down, and that'll bring about this change. There he is. He just about got underneath of him, but just, it's pretty hard to limbo underneath that mountain of a man. So Ty Ochitwa credited with the sack, and that brings on the offense here for the Raiders. There's the handoff once again to Malik Gagne-Smith, and he drives it forward right around the 20-yard line. Probably spot it somewhere around the 21 for second down coming up, and the Raiders just really doing the best that they can do here given the situation, but they've done an admirable job here so far in this third quarter of at least stymieing the offense. You think back to a couple of plays back where they were able to keep them out of the end zone, and that interception deep in their own end. T. Jesse. Oh, and they throw that ball incomplete. This was a little bit low, and actually, I believe that they brought in the backup, and that was, it looks like they're giving Ethan Picard a chance at throwing that ball as he looks to the sidelines for some more instructions here. The Rebels will talk things over in this quick huddle, and once again, the ball right around the 21-yard line. Chris McLarty lining up wide. Starts off slow. He was being looked at, but now the quarterback gets sacked, and that's a big time play defensively as the VI Raiders dig down, and Jojo Corey getting in there and getting the stuff. And that'll change units on the field, and a big defensive play. The Raiders can build on that. Lots of high fives there as he heads back to the bench, and those are the kind of defensive plays that these Raiders are going to need going forward as they're dealing with a very potent offense. There's a whistle off of the backside there. They're calling for a substitution, I believe. And that's AJ Carr making his way out onto the field. And they'll incorporate him into this next play with I believe that's 4:52 left here in this third quarter of play. And again, it's 55-0. They're going to have a quick little water break here. A little extra time to discuss this next down here coming up. A couple of great plays defensively here so far today for the VI Raiders, but they're really looking to get that spark for their offense. And, you know, you think of some of the players that they have to do that against, Ty Ochitwa and Sebastian Lambert, some of these players that are just really having a whale of a day for the Westshore Rebels. Quick action there at the line. Pass is complete. Stops up. Gets a run through the middle. Now here's something to be excited about for the Raiders. Takes a stumble, and I believe that's Marcus Crisp getting it down to near the 47-yard line. And he's really been someone to get excited about today. Some of that veteran savvy that Jay Daniels talked about, that he wants to build the nucleus of for this team. And you can see the backside pressure there, and he made a turn at the perfect time. Should have been tripped up earlier, but he managed to get an extra 3 yards there after the contact by Ashton Leopard. Leopard getting a good piece of him, but it wasn't enough to bring him down. There's the handoff. Crisp once again. He has two players trying to rip the ball away from him, but he gets down and maintains possession as he stumbles across the 46, maybe the 47-yard line. Good job by Crisp, and great job too by Ben Chomaluk to recognize who's got the hot hand, and running some good plays now as they're making about as much progress running the ball as they have all day here so far. The center moves in, getting ready for this play. Oh, and a good knock down there right as the ball was released by Chomaluk, getting a hand on it and knocking it down. It was Ashton Leopard once again, who's had a really good set of downs there for the Rebels. And that'll bring about a personnel change here for the Raiders. Oh, and the ball is snapped low and bouncing around the ground, but a good job to get that one up and away and kick downfield. Riker Sansbury did well to keep track of that ball as it bounced around in front of them and rolled. But they practice this many, many times, you know, whether they're scrimmaging or they're working on it with their special teams. These are plays that they want to have dialed in. And you see where that ball bouncing out of bounds, not giving any chance for a return by the Westshore Rebels with this 55-0 lead here in the third quarter. Just over 3 minutes to go. Right about the 21-yard line for Westshore. The handoff given. There's a flag on the play. A couple of players pile in over top, but the ball didn't move very far. And it looks like the ball carrier might be a little bit stinging from that last play, as he's hasn't accepted an arm to get pulled up here yet from his teammates. And there's the trainer out to have a look at and I believe that's Tanisha Bramley. You can see that pile up and someone getting pushed just over top. Yeah, big number 75, James Mullen, the offensive lineman, and he's a very strong individual. You could see how much momentum he had behind him when he came soaring over the top. So it will be a defensive penalty coming up here, a face mask. So that's why the ball's been moved upfield here. I just want to send a shout out to the crew, Mike Walker and Derek as well on the Roll Focus camera crew. Really great bunch to work with, and always lots of opening day game jitters for everyone. And it's not easy to get a broadcast like this off the ground. So hats off to them as we are back underway. There's the handoff, plays up to the line of scrimmage, not much more as the trifecta gets in there and brings them down, led by Caleb Charlton. He's had a great defensive day. And Aiden Thompson as well, getting in on that tackle. Just over 2 minutes to go here in this third quarter. And in relief, quarterback Ethan Picard setting up, looking downfield. It was tipped, and heads up. There was a big hit coming. And it's a good thing maybe that ball wasn't brought in by Rick Pomar, as he had a Scud missile heading at him should he have grabbed that ball that was tipped and in midair, but he went right by it. And you can see just coming into your screen there, big number 6, Jacob Gilman, the safety, and he read that one perfectly. And it will give the Raiders probably an opportunity to get the ball back here before the end of this quarter. Boy, did he ever come in fast, and he's had a good day here today. Doesn't matter what the scoreboard says. Jacob Gilman's been putting together a great performance, and a couple of other standout performances today. I've been really impressed with Caleb Charlton as well. The ball's kicked up high in a side spin, but it's going to bounce out of bounds right around the 40. And that's where the VI Raiders will go to work. That's a really good look, actually, at the field, the AstroTurf that's used here. And I've played myself personally soccer a few times on this field, and it actually feels really good. It's probably one of the most flat surfaces, if that makes sense, in Nanaimo. One of the best playing surfaces, if you ask me. It's very, very well groomed and kept, even though there is a new park being put up that will house some John Barsby football, and that's being put up over at the Harewood Park, right in behind John Barsby High School. Playback underway, fakes the handoff. Now going for a little bit of a run, but he's met by 3 players, and he ducks in underneath the cover. Jaden Playfair moving it downfield just ever so slightly. And the Raiders will huddle up here and figure out what they want to do here with this second down. Just a minute left to go in this third quarter. Westshore Rebels have to be excited after the distance they went last year and how things are opening up here on game day. Next week, Tyler is, who's also on the Roll Focus crew here today, he's going to be calling that one next week at Starlight Stadium. There's movement on the line, and there's going to be a penalty coming up for movement on the line. And there's a good battle at the line of scrimmage, too, as looks like it's going to be an offside call, and that will go against the Westshore Rebels. There's some big boys coming together on the line there, and one of Nicholas Schenk having a real battle there with Ashton Leopard. It's just amazing how large some of these young men can be. As I was mentioning, the offensive lineman for the VI Raiders. They just precision. He's an extremely big boy, nearly 300 pounds. I think 6'5" is what I was hearing. There's a throw to the outside, and that's Ahuja. He's got the ball, gets near the out-of-bound lines, and that's right down around the 45-yard line, and that's the reception he needed today to really get himself kick-started, and that's a great haul for the VI Raiders. So they build on top of that offside call, and they've turned it into possession that's past the midway point, and this is looking good for the Raiders. See that immediate play action as Playfair just turns and he rifles it down to Harmon Ahuja, and he made no mistake keeping himself right near the out-of-bounds line and picking up a few extra yards. And good field position here for the Raiders. And can they maintain this possession and this momentum here? Literally just 7 seconds left on the clock, so there'll be one last play here in the third down, or in the third quarter, pardon me, after that big first down. Jaden Playfair getting the look that he wants. Hayden Day out on the far side, but they're going to hold the ball, and if the ball's fumbled, it's loose right near the center line, and the Rebels indicating that they have it. And it looks like one of the Raiders, actually, well, he was down on the field in some discomfort there for a moment. That was Nicholas Schenk, but a big turnover here, and one of the flags did fly, though, from the far side official, and we're going to have to see how that plays out. But for now, it looks like the Raiders have given the ball back to the Westshore Rebels on the last play of the third quarter. And a drive that was really becoming promising, and Jaden Playfair making some good calls back there, but somehow the ball was fumbled. And again, the special teams for the Westshore Rebels just continuing to shine here today. Every time the Raiders get some momentum, there's a swing pass to the outside. That's caught. Malik Gagne-Smith picking that one up, and he's probably touched the ball as much as any Westshore Rebel today, or anyone on the field for that matter. And he gets another bunch of yards on that play. Ball spotted just over the center line there at about the 54-yard line for Westshore. Second down. Ball is snapped. Throws it down the side. Picked up and caught. Tried to throw him out of bounds, but he couldn't get him all the way. Now he's running down the sidelines, and he gets pushed out somewhere around the 10 or 11-yard line. And what a second effort there is Kwame Franklin, who had a big play in the second quarter, opens it up again. A big, tall receiver, and his part of his jersey got ripped there. You can see him tearing off the remnants of it. And that was in an effort to try and throw him out of bounds. But he's such a good, agile player, and he runs very quickly. You can see that the throw was right on the money from Ethan Pickard. Well thrown ball, and he was turned perfectly to see it, and they nearly throw him out of bounds, but it just wasn't quite enough, and it's enough. Oh, the ball is snapped low. Recovering quickly, he was Gagne-Smith, and somehow he popped up, and now he gets nailed, but not before picking up an extra 4 or 5 yards, getting it right down to about the 10-yard line. And Gagne-Smith just continuing to get touches here and moving the ball very well for Westshore. The Raiders' defensive line doing the best that they can, but there's only so much you can do when there's so many weapons out there. One of them lining up wide there, Kwame Franklin holds up with his man. Paul thrown up high and out of reach. And the intended receiver, I believe that was Rick Parmar, pardon me. And that ball's incomplete. So we're here in the fourth quarter, a very commanding lead for the Westshore Rebels, and they've put Pickard in for the quarterback, giving their star quarterback T. Jesse a rest. They don't need to tax him any further. The damage has been done so far in this game. Pickard stepping back, lets the ball go, and it's caught. Oh, and a heavy crunching hit that knocks the helmet off once again. But he still caught the ball, and he seems to be perfectly okay as he recovers his helmet. But just a rocket hit from the backfield. As soon as he caught that ball, he was targeted, and you can see no sooner gets the ball and his head just snaps back as he's met by none other than Jacob Gilman. And I was telling you earlier today, he has been one big warrior here today for the VI Raiders, and that hit just put an exclamation mark. He's just serving notice that this game might be out of reach on the scoreboard, but there's still things that can be won and settled out on this gridiron here today. And you got to love that kind of compete level. I'm sure Jay Daniels likes to see that kind of leadership from his club, and there's nothing that can really quiet the opposing team like a giant hit or a big play to just enunciate that this team isn't just going to roll over and let the scoreboard dictate the rest of the game. Still deep territory, though, for the Rebels. They're right around the 7-yard line here. Third and goal. The Raiders with the ball. Handoff, doesn't get too far. There's stoppage right around the 6 or 7 yard line. Can't even see the ball carrier. There's so many players in around there. My apologies for the confusion there as the ball on downs for the Raiders, working from deep inside their own defensive end here. Can they work their way out? Remember back in the first quarter when they were right around similar field position, and the difficulty that was had by Ben Chomalek as he tried to roll out to the one side, and he was very close to the big goal post in the middle of the field. And now he has the ball once again, looks to the near side. He's throwing it far and deep, and it's intercepted right around the 40-yard line, and that one's picked off. And the Rebels once again with a big defensive play, and that ball just a little too far downfield. And that one was picked up and intercepted by the Rebels. Number 2 and that's Giovanni Lanuzzi, number 2, that intercepts that ball. And you can see on the near side here, it was just a little too deep. And it was also some very good coverage there by Jacob Greenway, the defensive back, as he created enough room there so his teammate could be in reach of that ball. So again, just lots of great support today by the Westshore Rebels. They're really playing as a cohesive unit, and you can tell by the way that they practice and were warming up today that head coach Dexter Janke, that's something he very much believes in, is playing completely as a team, and he's really put a great product here on the field today, and it's been very entertaining for all the football fans. But honestly, it's just such a gorgeous day here in Nanaimo. Yeah, there's a few clouds, but for the most part, it's a beautiful summer day, and it's perfect weather for football, and very happy to be here with you here today, bcfctv.com, and also on TELUS Optic. I believe 1981 is the proper channel. And a little bit later on YouTube, Pickard with the ball into the shotgun. He's got a wide open receiver, but it's in out of the arms and down on the field, slapping his hand in disgust. That was very close to a caught ball. And nothing you can do about that but say next play, please, Sebastian Lambert. But the wide receiver, he had it for a moment, just a brief moment, but he was wide open. You'll see on the replay that there was nary a cornerback or anyone around him. He was probably 10 yards from any other person on the field when that ball got to him. But he had to turn from his left to his right, and I think he would have caught a little bit of the sun as he did that too. So not an easy catch to make, but it certainly wasn't a do-or-die situation. Oh, and a spiraling, spinning ball up in the air. Rebels careful not to touch it, but there's still 2 flags on the field as they do finally coalesce around the ball. And I don't know how they're going to sort this one out, but there was definitely some contact made with the ball as that one was going up into the air, and both teams trying to get trying to find out what the call is here on the field. And the Rebels ecstatic as the call goes their way, and it is, they are calling it a Rebels ball. And for all of the trouble anybody had from Westshore getting here today with the accident on the Malahat Highway, they are happy that they made it here today. They're having a whale of a day football-wise, and no matter if there's stops on the way home or holdups, they're going to be very happy on this bus trip home as the Westshore Rebels really flexing their offensive acumen here today. First down. There's the chuck over to the side from Pickard. And tripped up about 7 yards downfield on the play. I'll have to get a second look at the ball carrier. Such an amazing crew here today. And once again, that's number 85, Sebastian Lambert. He's the one that had that very close reception chance just minutes ago on the near side of the field, and there was no one around him, but it was a difficult catch to make, and he had to turn from his left to his right, just in and out of his arms at the last moment. Second down here. They're going to push forward, try and get the short yardage, and looks like they made a yard, maybe 2 on that push. And such good work on this offensive line here today. The Rebels, as I said, they're a very sizable crew. You're getting a good look at the back of number 66. That's Josh Vanderweerd, and he's a big defensive lineman. Very tough assignment for anybody to line up against. Another pitch pass there from Pickard. This time to the 1. Is it in? I think it might be the 1 yard line. Well, maybe they're calling it a touchdown. It was very close. He was brought down right around the goal line, and it looks like they signaled it a touchdown. And I'm just trying to figure out, based on the roster that I have, I don't know that I have number 28 up there on my roster today, but they did indeed punch it in with him, and we'll get to that in a moment. They're going to try and add this extra point here. And it looks like it's good. Should be a 62-0 lead here at NDSS here in the fourth quarter. Yeah, and it was that play out to the side, and he just put his head down at the very last second. Brevin Arnell able to hit him, but he just made it inside the line. And this offensive line for the Westshore Rebels has just been kind of a revelation here today. And he was alluding to it. Dexter Janke was talking to Gideon Hill about some of the, almost seemed like he was ready to reveal some secret weapons or people that are ready to get some spotlight and some attention. And we're definitely seeing that here today. The Rebels are definitely a very robust crew, and they've, right from the opening snap, T. Jesse, first half was phenomenal. A couple of bullet passes into the end zone that found their targets, and just perfectly timed running plays. Zion Brown getting this club off to a flying start, and they've just continued to eat away at this scoreboard, adding points almost at will. Raiders receive off the kickoff, going to try and pound it right through the middle. Getting stopped up first was Chris, but he goes around the outside, takes a low tackle, and finally brought down after he's hit hard at the line, at the 40-yard line. But a good second effort as Chris just bounces off of that first tackle. And I think he was talking to Bronson Pfeiffer out there, the defensive back, about that last run, and it was indeed an impressive run. Oh, and there it is. There's nothing like having a referee give you an assist on the backside, but the referee getting shoved, and he wound up actually running into, I believe that was number 33 for the Raiders. It was Luke Dawson that I don't think he was expecting that contact there, but regardless, the run by Marcus Crisp was a good one, and it moves the ball downfield. And it looks like right around the 39-yard line is where they'll go to work here. As the referees and players take a little bit of a water break here. Good to keep hydrated. It's not incredibly hot here today, but it's definitely, I think it was around 23, 24 degrees Celsius, of course, for our American friends. I'm not sure what that is in Fahrenheit. I'm still working on that conversion. But needless to say, it's still great weather for football, and these guys will have a lot different weather to contend with as we move into September and early October. But for now, they're getting just beautiful island sunshine, and the fans don't seem to mind one bit. Everyone's getting a tan, and lots of good beverages out there, and everyone's having a good time, even though the Raiders wish the scoreboard was a little bit different, favored them a little more. It's a great day for football. There's the snap. Playfair rolls out to the left. Looked like he was going to maybe think about throwing the ball, but he gets brought down on the outside there, somewhere around the 41-yard line. Maybe, or pardon me, 43-yard line, actually. Playfair with a good little run there, and he... Well, no, actually, they will spot it around the 41. He did try to sell a little bit of the pump action there, but the Rebels weren't biting, and they drop him at the 41. Second down now. Just one on the near side. Playfair activates himself. He dropped the ball. Were they able to recover it in time? I believe so. There's no excitement from the Rebels camp that they were able to recover that ball, but it will bring about a maybe a 1-yard loss potentially here for the Raiders. Now the Raiders will change up units here on the field. It's a little bit of excitement as the ball got dropped down there by Playfair, but obviously they were able to recover in time. Raiders just getting out one last player onto the field here just in time. Ball bounces to the kicker, who gets it away. Ball takes a couple of bounces and now finally rolls out of bounds somewhere around the 45-yard line. And with just under 7 minutes to go here in the fourth quarter, the Westshore Rebels will have the ball once again, bringing out their offensive line, and a very successful one it's been today as the chains get reset down on the sidelines, and the white and red bearing team, they've just had such a successful day, whether they're running the ball or they're throwing the ball. T. Jesse with a couple of great strikes early, and Zion Brown with some fantastic runs, especially right around the midfield mark when he broke loose from a couple of tackles and There's a reason why he was at the BC Lions camp. There's a long ball, and it's just incomplete right around the 35-yard line. And the intended target there, that was Pharrell Yakin Kenfak, that I think he was trying to sell that. Sorry, can you repeat that? So the ball around the 46-yard line for the Rebels. 3 on the right side. Thought about the button hook pattern to number 80, but now he's going to load up and send it downfield, but this one's going to go incomplete, as it was a good job down the near side. That was Kaya Saunders that was able to get in front of the intended receiver. Deshaun Long, the wide receiver that was in the crosshairs there for Picard. It looked like initially that little button hook play might have worked if he would have fired the ball immediately downfield, but opted to try and stretch the field even longer. But that'll bring about 3rd down here, and an important defensive moment here for the Raiders to try and get this ball back and maybe generate some late game momentum here. Ball being kicked high and towards the sidelines, but it bounces off of the arms, and the Raiders are going to lose a couple of yards, but they'll still maintain the ball as the ball was picked up. And it was a tough position for A.J. Carr to receive that ball, and he wanted to take it and immediately get turned around. And when he tried to pivot from the backside there, I think he didn't realize that he was running out of real estate very quickly, but managed to keep the ball in his arms, and that would have been just a disastrous place to cough up the football. So 62-0 here for the Westshore Rebels, and it's been a very strong day for their offensive line, but also their special teams. And they've really managed to utilize all of the different weapons in their arsenal. Of course, T. Jesse, their all-star quarterback, had a very strong first half, and they basically retired him for the second half, using Ethan Pickard for backup duties and getting him some time on the football as well. 3 on the near side, looking down the middle. He's looking for number 11, and he catches it, and he's in between 2 players, and he breaks in for the touchdown, and that's Kwame Franklin. He hauled that one in, and you could just see from the pattern he was running as he cut to the inside right. That ball was perfectly placed, and Ethan Pickard finds the mark, and they drive it in for another major score here as the Westshore Rebels just continue unabated, throwing the football, running the football, and just doing everything that they need to do to be successful here today. And you can bet that there's going to be a lot of teams watching this game today and thinking about what the rest of the season's going to hold. It's not next week, but I believe it's either the following week or basically 3 weeks from today, the big Okanagan showdown with Westshore. So a big contest coming up, and that'll be a real test. Apparently a lot of people very interested in that upcoming contest. Of course, next up on the docket, a week from today, the VI Raiders will be taking on Valley. Well, there must have been a flag on the play, I'm being told, because they've taken the touchdown off the board, but they're going to throw deep anyways, and it's now complete for the touchdown as they get to the outside and deep, and that one's into the arms of Chris McLarty, and he gets the strike, and even though the flag brought the play back, they still put the points up on the board anyways, and that one makes it official, and McLarty doing some more damage here today, and boy, he's a fast runner. You see how quickly he got around the outside corner there and into the touchdown area as he just turned on the jets, and that ball was where it needed to be as Ethan Pickard found him all alone, and the VI Raiders defense just unable to track him down in time before he got into the end zone. So 69-0 here. So 69-0 for the Rebels. And yeah, so we're just talking about whether or not the score on the actual scoreboard here at NDSS is correct. And Westshore Rebels getting ready to kick this ball. And with just over 5 minutes remaining here in the fourth quarter, it's all but aesthetics at this point. And the Rebels just putting on an absolute offensive clinic here today as they line up around the 40-yard line and getting ready to send this one off and see if the Raiders have one more trick in the bag before this game is said and done. Receiving it back around the 20-yard line and not much room to run with that one. Paul Romanoff with the catch, and he gets out of bounds. Looks like right around the 25-yard line, or pardon me, 24-yard line. And they'll go to work from there. Yeah, so we're going to, at this point, we're going to call it 62-0. That's just the way that the scoreboard was operated. It doesn't happen all the time, but sometimes when the touchdown gets called back, it doesn't show up right away on the scoreboard. But regardless, it's not like it's a tight 21-21 contest where that would be ever important, and I'm sure lots of people would notice. Raiders now, Playfair with the handoff there, getting some good blocks, and his O-line trying to help move him forward somewhere around the 26 or 27-yard line. A couple of extra little discussions out there, as I'm sure there's a little bit of frustration coming through for the Raiders here at this point in the game. Such a young club, and so much forming to do here in the coming days and weeks, as they will ultimately try and use what they've learned here today and try and emulate the strong work ethic here that's been on display by the Westshore Rebels. Playfair in tight. He had to reach down again to find that ball. He just picks it up and tries to surge forward the best he can, but he had to reach back down for that ball. And a little bit of extra stuff on the line of scrimmage there is looked like Nijis Lewin got tied up a little bit with one of the Raiders. I think that was Nicholas Schenk. Another shot there of the one of the towering behemoths out on the field there today. That's Kane Precision. And I believe he was scouted out of Saskatchewan, but I'll have to double check on that. The University of Saskatchewan, I believe. There's the snap and the kick. Oh, it's very vertical, and it takes a funny bounce near the sidelines, and there's an extra penalty. Oh, and there's some additional run back there as Aiden Leslie took exception to the extra foul that was delivered out of bounds there on his person. And that was Sebastian Lambert that gave him the shot, but he came right back with the retaliatory shot, so I'm not sure how that will play out, but it'll probably all but rub out any advantage that the Raiders might have taken from that play action. just out of bounds, and there's that extra push you can see, and he actually wound up hitting the gate, and I think hitting the mesh probably was probably what angered him the most. It was he was well out of bounds, and that ball had bounced out of bounds. As the officials are still talking about it a little bit, but it looks like it'll be spotted at the 44-yard line of the Raiders, and that looks like where they'll go to work with this one. With just a shade under 3 minutes to go here in the fourth. Scintillating afternoon for the Westshore Rebels offensive line, and now they're just doling out what looks like almost offsetting penalties. Oh, so it actually looks like from where they'll spot the ball here for the Rebels. Right around the 56-yard line. Ball is snapped, trying to run through. Good run here, picking up steam. There's a flag on the play, trying to get around the outside and finally pushed out of bounds. And it was a good run for the Rebels. Unofficially, they carry on the play. We believe that's Sean Clazy, but we don't. I can't say 100% certainty, as the roster doesn't, the official game roster doesn't reflect that. But a good run nonetheless, and it was just another moment where the Rebels offense continues to shine and impressed with the mix-up of the play call here, as one of the Raiders being escorted off the field here. And that's Jacob Lazowski. Linebacker. Oh, you can see there was a collision of shoulders there, and he was right underneath, I think, number 75 for the Rebels. So that was James Mullen that came crashing in, and he's had a couple of huge hits today. 2:43 left in the fourth quarter. First down for the Rebels. Long throw down the near side, looking, and it's caught and dragged down is the Westshore Rebel number 92. And a great haul in there, and just they're unable to just turn him off of the ball. Actually, pardon me, I believe that was 82. Pardon me, my bad. And that's Chris McLarty, and he's done so much damage here today. And that one just another catch for him that really shows off not just the skill, but the oh, it looked like I thought I saw a motion for a face mask. Well, that is an incredible change in field position. I mean, the game is 2.5 minutes out from being finished here on the score clock, and I believe it was a face masking call by the official, and I didn't see who was responsible, but it certainly helped the Raiders as far as field position goes. Play underway, swung out to the side there, picked up, and that's Kwame Franklin, who had that touchdown earlier in this quarter, and he sneaks out just past the center line there as they continue to move the ball back up, even though that penalty, the face masking, sent them back a good distance. It just seems like every time they get the ball in an offensive position that somehow the Rebels are able to orchestrate something that stretches out this VI Raiders defense. Yes, almost exactly at the center line. First down. Ethan Picard Looks, he's going deep. He's got one man on the run, but the cornerback's there, and there was nowhere to go, as that was just a good man-on-man coverage. And once again, I believe that was Gilman on the play on the safety there. So the Rebels will definitely have lots of reason for enthusiasm as this big victory starts to get wrapped up here today. As far as we can tell, we've got a 62-0 scoreline here. They're going to punt the ball away. Ball takes one bounce. Met with a solid hit, but he got back up, popped up, and he got an extra 10 yards out of that. And just a good job of A.J. Carr bouncing off of that first hit. He absorbed it solidly in the chest, but even though it knocked him back, he got turned and headed right straight back up the field. As the offensive line comes out now, and they've got just under 2 minutes to work with here. Ball at the 27 for the Raiders. Playfair back around the 22-yard line. 3 in motion, 4 in motion on the near side, but he didn't have any room. He didn't even have time to look up as the gap was full, and immediately right in his face, 2 red and white jerseys. And Playfair just had no time to assess what was happening downfield, as he looks like he's checking out the play call here. Oh, and his big number 44 in there for the tackle is Perez Odegun. He reached out with his right arm and got a piece of him. Now in the pocket, looking, throwing. Ball got deflected, and it takes a bounce, but it comes down, and nobody's able to pick it up. And it was actually a pretty good job in almost a defensive type of setting. That was Jordan Umunkuzi, and Umunkuzi had it bounce off of his shoulder pad. Now number 30 on the field there. He's got his hand up, probably needing some attention here after he and Umunkuzi collided there, trying to collect that ball, that loose ball. That's Jacob Greenway, the defensive back for the Rebels. But he got up right away. And the ball spotted around the 26 for the Raiders. And you can see some counting going on there by Xavier Analyte. Down to just a minute and a half left in this one, and a big result here today for the Westshore Rebels. Play underway, and the ball's kicked right down near the 50-yard line, takes a bounce to center, and it's collected on the backside. Being forced back, and a great sack in the backfield. And right Johnny on the spot, Aiden Leslie. And actually, you could actually hear one of the fans chanting Leslie's name before that play began. And someone was yelling out, "Come on, Leslie." And he made it happen out there. So who says fans don't have an effect on the outcome of the game? Fans calling out for Leslie, and he delivers with a big tackle and keeping the Rebels from a good turn back up the field, and they spot it right about the center line, as I mentioned, so no gain on the play. Looks like the Rebels indicating either a timeout or just hoping to get that extra personnel on the field. Yeah, timeout, Rebels. Quick water break for the players as well. Bryson Stavist coming out with the liquid, keeping everyone hydrated. As I said, it's not blistering hot today like it has been over the last week or so, but certainly need to keep hydrated today. Play underway. There's the handoff. Trying to break through some tackles. It was a good head of steam as he hit the 53-yard line and then gained a couple extra yards on that extra power through. Can you give that to me one more time? Play back underway as they move the marker down to about the 41-yard line as the Rebels opt to run the ball now. So the Rebels hosting Kamloops next week, and the Raiders on the road to face Langley. And as I mentioned, one of the role focus personnel, Tyler, he's going to be making the calls now for these Westshore Rebels, so he's getting an advanced look today as they plunge that ball through the line of scrimmage and head it up right around the 28-yard line. So definitely in position for a strike here. Just 33 seconds remaining in the quarter, but in football terms, that can stretch out quite a ways, as you know, depending on clock usage, and the Westshore fans really rallying and giving their away team as much support as they can. In the dying seconds of this football game, ball is handed off and it's carried, but just barely to the line of scrimmage. And I believe that was Manny Mansoray on the carry. And that's it. They're going to call it a final. And even though the scoreboard on the field says 69, we believe it's 62-0 for the visiting Westshore Rebels. And just so many things to talk about with this offense and the way that Dexter Janke has his club rolling. And you can just tell that the preparation for both teams was good, but maybe for the Westshore Rebels, they're just so many powerful weapons, and we talk about T. Jesse in the first half and some of the balls that he was able to complete, a couple of big touchdown strikes, and some of the weapons that got used in that first half, Garen Hardisty, and you think about some of the great special teams plays that they were able to make too. Right after the Raiders got some initial inertia in that first half, they came up with that big sack for a loss, and then that interception as well by Peter Primo. This team just doing a great job from top to bottom, but their offensive line really leading the way. And even in the hands of their backup quarterback, Ethan Pickard, they were able to connect plays, make great runs like you see there from Garen Hardisty, as we talked about, and Zion Brown with that outstretched goal line touchdown, just reaching in time, and another solid pass making its way through as Kieran Poissant was able to reel that one in. And it was just all Rebels offense today. Not too much more to tell you about the Raiders other than they gave it a great effort, and they had some awesome defensive plays today. And I thought that Jacob Gilman was just money in his play today for the Raiders, but they're just unable to string together enough plays to get some points on the board. And they did have some great game-changing tackles there. Jacob Gilman, as I mentioned, just really throwing his weight around, and AJ Carr with a couple of great carries. But overall, just a tough day for the Raiders, and an extremely great day offensively for the Westshore Rebels. 62-0, that's your final here. Thank you so much for joining us on bcfctv.com and also on TELUS Optic. Thank you so much for supporting football and giving us a view, and also thanks to the Roll Focus crew. I'm Lorenzo Jensen. Have a great afternoon and enjoy the rest of your weekend. This has been Raiders and Rebels here in the Battle of the Rock.